guys? Welcome to my van. This is my 2021 Ford Transit 250 high roof, long wheelbase Moto van that I've converted for stunt riding. I bought this van back in April. It had about 89,000 miles on it, and I'm just going to show you everything that I've done to it so far and how I've converted it to suit my needs. All right, we're going to start up front here. There's nothing too special about the front of this van. Everything's basically the same. The only thing I did was added this touchscreen display. It's from 4D Tech. It's a kit that gives you the Android Auto for this van if it doesn't come with it. This van did not have sync to begin with. It had the original 4.3-inch tiny radio.
One thing I forgot to mention when I was recording this earlier is that if you already have sync, there's a cheaper alternative to doing the screen upgrade. You can find a Ford EcoSport screen and audio controls on eBay for a lot cheaper, and then you just flash the APIM with some software that you download onto a USB drive. There's tons of YouTube videos that already show how to do the screen upgrade when you have sync, so it should be pretty easy to follow along.
The kit's a little bit expensive because it gives you a new APIM, which allows you to have sync in your van now. It's a super easy install. It's plug and play. Their install video is like 20 minutes long. They literally do everything in the video, so if you follow that to a T, it's a super easy install. Adding sync to your van also does not remove the Ford Pass capability for remote start and all that stuff, so don't worry about switching out the head unit and putting in a new APIM. It's not going to affect anything with that. That was something I was a little bit concerned with, but I went with the wired version. You just have a cable going from the USB outlet there, and then I kind of just got it wrapped around and lying on the floor for right now. I'll probably have to come up with a better mount for that in the future. Obviously, you can see the seat. I've got a swivel here. I also put a swivel on the driver's seat to open up the living space in the front of this van.
This is what the van looked like in the beginning. The cargo racks would be really convenient to put up plywood walls if that's the route you wanted to take, but I wanted the extra width in the back, so I took everything out. The wood was held in with screws, so that was easy to remove. The vertical steel posts were riveted and bolted into the floor of the van with plus nuts, both of which required me to grind off the heads and punch them out to remove them.
We took out these side panels here and I insulated everything, top, middle, and hard to tell, but bottom there, from front to back on the sides, up here as well. For the side sliding door, I insulated behind this big panel here, but I did not insulate this bottom portion. If you take this plastic cover off, you'll find that the whole bottom portion with all the electronics has a plastic seal around it with some like gasket maker, so it wasn't really worth trying to shove tiny pieces of insulation behind there. I just left it as is. I've not done the roof at all because I think I want to put a rooftop AC in. Once all that's been decided, then I can insulate the front of this and then put some wood trim or something, or carpet it to get rid of that ugly yellow that's still there. For insulation, I went with the 3M Thinsulate and then used some of the 3M spray adhesive to hold everything in place. I've got the top, the middle, and the bottom section all covered. Did not care about doing the roof back here because it's the garage portion. I don't really need it to be temperature controlled as much. For privacy, this is just a shower curtain rod from Home Depot, and I've got it shoved up into the foam inserts here on each side. It's expandable, so you just twist it and it kind of sticks in there and it's really sturdy. And then just a blackout curtain from Amazon that I cut because it was way too long. And this thing is frayed quite a bit because it's caught on a bunch of stuff in here. So I'll have to eventually clean that up, but it's got a Gatorade towel because I sweat a lot when I ride, so I want something clean to wipe my face with. I'm also running a set of RGB lights around the inside here to give me some more light when these cargo lights shut off. This is just a indoor RGB strip off of Amazon. Receivers here. And then I have the wires running through the foam down the panel. I've got it wired directly to the battery under the seat. That way they don't shut off after 15 minutes like the cargo lights do. But that gives me some color and some white light in here if I need it when it gets dark. I've got two helmet holders on the inside, one here, and then for my main helmet there. These are just from Amazon. I drilled holes into the van wall, put some riv nuts, and then just bolted them in. I think there's some hardened steel maybe in these sections because one of the holes was super hard to drill into. I'd have to double check on a certain YouTube video where he kind of tells you all the positions for the hardened steel, and I may have been unlucky and picked that.
On the passenger side, we have the same thing. We have hardened steel here.
They sit right there, they don't move, and they're easy for me to access, which is exactly what I want. So the big thing here is the dividing wall slash platform slash bed. That's the wall. Here's the bed platform, and then I have some storage cubbies that we cut out in down there. That's how the wall and bed platform look from the outside here.
This was the process for building the wall on the bed platform. I installed riv nuts into the van walls and the locations where we're going to build out the frame. We started with 2 vertical 2x4s on each side of the van, and we secured that with 3 bolts on each side. The top horizontal 2x4 was secured to the vertical post with hurricane straps. We also used hurricane straps to secure the second horizontal 2x4 that sits at the bottom of the wall. Next, we framed out the bed platform. It's a pretty simple rectangle. I added an extra 2x4 across the middle for extra support, which we secured with joist hangers. The left front leg is bolted into the van wall where I installed riv nuts. However, the right front leg is free floating more or less. I didn't secure it to the floor at all. The plywood for the wall portion was a pretty easy square to cut. The piece right above it that goes to the ceiling, we had to angle to compensate for that ridge that goes across the van roof on the inside. We screwed in a rectangle piece of plywood to the bed platform and then finished it all off by covering everything in carpet.
And then this carpet is just auto marine outdoor carpet. As you can see, we stapled it mainly, and then some places I used the 3M spray adhesive. But this carpet's super cheap. It's like 50 cents a square foot, and then if you get it on sale, it's like 29 cents a square foot at Menards. And the only reason I had to do something like this was because I chose the long wheelbase and not the extended wheelbase, and the Harley wheel kind of comes up to like right here. The sport bike sits a little bit farther back, which you'll see. If I got the extended version and had the extra 2.5 feet, I would just be able to do a straight wall down, but this is what we had to do to make this work. We also made a little toolbox holder on the side here, so this sits in this little cubby right there. I can open the toolbox, grab tools that I need, all the drawers slide out, top opens, and then whenever I need to, I can take it out of the van. So for these storage cubbies, we kind of have a bunch of different stuff in here. I got visors for when I'm riding on the street. I got a gold and a clear depending on the time of day. Some miscellaneous tools, fire extinguisher, air pump, my knee pads, a bunch of straps, some cones, some jumper cables, a snow brush for the winter, a spare set of clothes, some more bedding stuff, and then a box of miscellaneous things that I could use up front here. And then I hang my riding jeans up here, shoved the hanger through the hole that was there, and that's a big sweat stain from years of use. It does not come out when I wash it. The bed right here is just a camping mattress off of Amazon. It's a 3-inch memory foam mattress. The platform's an unusual width. There wasn't really a mattress that would fit. It just makes it to the edge of the platform widthwise, and then lengthwise it is a little bit long. But as you can see, I just kind of have it curled up here. And it's got Velcro pads on each corner, so I kind of just stuck it to the carpet there to help keep it in place. 3 pillows with some random pillowcases we just had lying around the house. I should probably put a sheet on this mattress, but I don't use it too often. It just kind of comes in handy if I need to take like a nap after work or something, or I'm in a spot where it doesn't make sense to go home and I can just hang around, lay back here for a little bit. I originally wanted to go with one of the RV jackknife sofas, but with this platform already 27 inches high, the jackknife sofa is another 7 inches tall, and I thought that'd be crazy to go that high, and this is already high enough. I mean, I'm sitting up here and I got about like, I don't know, 6 inches of foot dangle even at this height. The purpose of the couch was to have people sitting up front and then people sitting on the couch, but it could also turn into the bed when I needed it to. So this is the garage portion of the van. I keep my F4i in here and my Harley Roadster and pretty much any other bike materials I need, my shoes, gas can, ramp. There's a leaf blower to blow off the lot, a couple jackets, the cabinet with some various bike related items. I've also got 2 LED strip lights back here. So the way I wired these lights was I tapped into the rear cargo light plugs that are in these holes here, and you can pull 12-volt power from there. And then my ground, I just screwed in the spade connector off the ground wire straight to the metal of the van to ground it. The only thing with these lights, by going to those cargo plugs, they shut off after 15 minutes or whatever your sleep timer for the cargo lights are. So every 15 minutes you have to open a door or hit the key to reset it. I mainly use these when I'm unloading and loading, so I'm not really back here for an extended period of time. It was a little bit of a pain when we were building the rest of this wall and the light shut off every 15 minutes. You just got to keep turning them on. If you don't want to do that, you can run a power line directly to the battery or find some other wire that constantly gets the 12 volts. So for storage back here, we just have a cabinet hanging off the wall. It's an unfinished cabinet from Menards. I keep coolant, chain wax, gloves, towels, tripod, first aid kit, gunshot wound kit, which has a tourniquet in it, and I think I have some GoPro stuff in there, but just some things you might need when working on the bikes or while you're at the lot. Jacket's currently held up with some nails. I'm gonna have to find a better solution for that. I'll probably mount like a fire extinguisher back here. I got L-tracks on the top, on the bottom here, on both sides. This side holds my leaf blower. This kind of has nothing on it because the Harley drags anything that's hanging that low on this side. This side has the ramp, stays locked in place with these big hooks. So for bike storage in the back here, we went with the Pitbull TRS system. I didn't want to have to deal with any straps, and these are quick and convenient for loading. You literally just lock the mounts onto the axles of the bike and then roll them in, and they lock into place on the base plates here. You got a couple safeties on each side to make sure those latches don't pop up and the bikes stay in place as long as you need them to. The install is pretty interesting without having a subfloor back here, because you now have to take into account the ridges of the van floor. So when you're drilling through, you might not get a flat spot. And the base plates will bow when you go to tighten down the bolts. We ended up adding spacers underneath the rug back here to keep everything as flat as possible and keep the plates from bowing. I also added steel plates underneath to help disperse the load from the TRS mounts. When it comes to purchasing a van, you can go through Facebook Marketplace, Enterprise, Ford, any of the other major car dealerships. Some of the smaller car dealerships have a ton of these, or you can go to Penske. If the color didn't give it away, easy enough, that's where I got it. If you've only bought from car dealerships in the past, it's a little bit weird to buy from Penske because you can only test drive it in their lot if the lot's big enough to do it. They don't let you take it on the public roads, which is kind of weird, but you put a deposit down for about $1,000, you sign the paperwork, they take it to their shop, inspect it, get it ready for pickup basically. They'll fix anything you notice before signing the paperwork. For me, the rear cargo door latch was missing, and then the top right roof corner panel had a gigantic dent in it. They fixed that, they replaced it with a brand new OEM panel, and honestly it took way longer than I thought. In addition to the time they spent prepping it, which when you read through all the paperwork and they tell you like all the things they looked over and how they prepped it, I thought this thing was going to come out with like a fresh detail, spotless, but when I picked it up it looked basically the same as the day I saw it the first time. So that's a little disappointing, but you know, whatever. It's a used van, so not that big a deal. They fixed that panel, that cargo latch didn't come, and the battery was shot when I picked it up. It lasted maybe a couple days, but you have, I think, a 14-day window to submit any claims of things that didn't work. And for me, I just bought the latch myself and I bought a new battery. I sent them the receipts, and then they sent me a check in the mail. So it worked out pretty good. Haven't had any problems since. Overall, it's a pretty easy buying process, and I think it was a pretty good decision to go through them. It's definitely different than a normal dealership. In the future, I probably plan to insulate and finish the front roof, throw in a rooftop AC, maybe an inverter and a house battery, and then probably some subs somewhere on the bottom back here, and then possibly like a small little TV up in the corner there or something like that. Have the Roku on it. It is my daily, which is why I went with the long length and not the extended, because I do need it to fit in normal parking spots and my driveway. You know, if I occasionally take that weekend trip down to another state or something, I have the opportunity to sleep in here if I need to. And kind of like they say, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So that's kind of why I went with this. Makes it super easy and quick for me to load and ride my bikes, which is exactly what I wanted, and it's kind of done everything I can hope for so far. So if you have any more questions about how I built the wall, the platform, some lighting, or anything else I've done on this build so far, let me know in the comments. I can answer them there or make a whole nother fully detailed video on that. Hopefully I threw in enough pictures to kind of give you an idea of the start to finish of this thing. Yeah, thanks for watching the tour of my 2021 Ford Transit Moto van.
Hottest stash in the carpet. Yeah, we trapping out apartments. I ain't done where you start.